Okay, so today's Library Lunch and Learn, brought to you by the PCOM Library, will feature the what is billed now as a point-of-care tool, ClinicalKey. I am Kevin Bradford, the Research and Writing Support Librarian based out of the Sewanee campus, and I will be giving you a very quick 20-minute or so overview on the ClinicalKey tool. So for those of you viewing the recording, if you have any further questions, I am going to see if I can pop in my URL or my email address so that you can see it in chat. That's me. And that's my email address. Okay. So to locate ClinicalKey or any of our databases, there's a couple of entry points. The one I like to do, because it involves less clicking, is scroll down past the library homepage and your search box, your general search box, into databases and click there. However, you can also find it in our collections tab. Click on databases and that will lead you to the same place. So these are alpha lists. Click on your letter of interest and scroll down until you reach the resource. So I'm going to close that because I've already got another window open. Here is the main interface page for ClinicalKey. So there are a couple of options here. I'm going to show you, scroll a little bit down below the search box and show you the easy tabs that you can click on for topics of interest or for areas of interest that you want to search. All of these tabs, with the exception of calculators, clinical comparison report, adverse reaction report, drug interaction report, drug identifier, and do not crush list, all of them will lead you to a browser. You can browse. If you have something specific in mind, my recommendation to you, rather than using the browse, because there will be more clicks involved for you to narrow down, is to use the main search bar up at the top and then click on all types. And then when you click into each category, excuse me, then you can do a specific search. And browsing is good if you're searching around perhaps for images for a presentation you're going to make. And I'm going to talk to you in a moment about the presentation tool, which I think is probably one of the premier excellent features of the ClinicalKey database. So it bills itself now as a point-of-care tool. And for those of you who are familiar with UpToDate or Dynamed, which the library also subscribes to, those are more popular, if you will, clinical search tools than ClinicalKey perhaps, but they are not anywhere near as easy to use as ClinicalKey would be. So again, I would suggest try it out. For ease of use, I would give it a 10. Dynamed is fairly easy to use, as well as UpToDate, but this isn't a comparison lunch and learn. We'd have to have an hour to do that sufficiently, but I just wanted to let you know there are other tools as well, and there are strengths to each. I like the clinical comparison report and adverse reaction and drug report because it's so easy to use. You've got a drug identifier tool, which will give you the pictures of the tools and other descriptors. There's what's unique to ClinicalKey is there's a do not crush list, a comprehensive list of meds that you should not be crushed. So that's also a very useful tool. So clinical overviews is the most similar tool to Dynamed. So again, this is the browse tool. If you had something specific in mind, again, you would go to the top, select the drop down, and then clinical overviews will get you the search tool. So here I'm just going to click on a particular topic at random. So on the left-hand side, you'll have a window pane similar to UpToDate and Dynamed, where you've got various categories within, your clinical overview. Excuse me. I couldn't find the mute key soon enough. Pardon me. So you have your etiology, your diagnosis information, lab tests, workups, treatment information, diagnostic pearls, clinical pearls. So very, very similar to Dynamed and UpToDate in terms of a point of care. Let me just click in on the different differential diagnosis tools. So these are common, we'll list common differential diagnoses, if you will, for your particular disease category that you're interested in looking at. So laboratory test imaging studies. So it's kind of it's similar to Dynamed in terms of bullet pointing, how it bullet points. Okay, so that is essentially, since we only have 20 minutes, we have to really quickly run through these. So that is the topical clinical overview link. Books and journals, fairly straightforward. You have a search interface, very similar to most of our other tools. Clinical trials, drug monographs, guidelines. In particular, I want to point out, before we move to the presentation tool, I want to point out those drug tools. Okay, so clinical comparison report compares drug interactions. So say you have a patient in front of you, and when they've done their information sheet and listed the drugs that they're currently taking, let's just say your patient is taking 2. One is acyclovir. Okay. And the other is clopidogrel. Okay. And that normally should be able to run a report. Pardon me, it worked this morning, but I only need to type that right. ACYLOVIR. Missing the C there. There we go. Sorry about. Or maybe hydrocortisone. That could be it. Let's try the acyclovir hydrocortisone. Yeah, let's try that. Underground. How interesting. Okay, well, we can move on then, since this one isn't cooperating for me for some reason. Okay, I see. I'm sorry. So indications and don't actually run a report with this one, though. Indications, contraindications, and adverse reactions will be listed on the left. So there's actually no report to run on this, pardon me. So you have to go down through the list to see the contraindications and the comparison and the classifications. So, all right, so that one we'll move on from adverse reactions. Let's try the same search. Okay, now we can run the report on this one. Okay, so what's really nice about this is if you've got these various symptoms, adverse reactions between acyclovir alone, hydrocortisone alone, or combined, it will give you the condition, consideration, the reaction, and it will tell you, okay, with bronchospasm, it's just clopidogrel. Contact dermatitis, could be an adverse reaction from either drug, and such and so forth, and then erythema, both drugs as well, skin irritations, xerosis. So clopidogrel has the lion's share of adverse reactions here of the two drugs that this particular patient is taking. Okay, and then your drug interaction report works similarly. And clopidogrel. So these are the actual drug forms, tablets. So let's see, combining these two specific drugs. Fortunately, these are the only drugs that are reported by the patient. And when the comparison for interactions is run, fortunately, there are no interactions for these particular drug combos, which is good news. So those are pretty straightforward tools to use. A number of calculators as well, which we won't get into. It's now 12:24, so we've gone a little bit over time with working with getting this recording started. So I apologize for that again. Now, I highly recommend that you set up your own account. It's quick and easy. And then you go to the hamburger in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to take you to the presentations. Now, this tool will automatically create a PowerPoint for you. If you have a presentation that you're making for class, or if you're faculty, if you're creating materials for a course that you're teaching or workshop, this is a really handy tool. You can click on Create New Presentation. I'm just going to write dermatitis, save. So now what I want to do is actually go out and search. So I'm going to look for multimedia. Then, since this is a generic, general sort of a search, I'll just type in dermatitis. And of course, there's going to be a lot of images to choose from. Maybe we can narrow it to maybe treatment. That might eliminate some of the images. Okay, so as you scroll down through, there's 567 results. Again, you'd want to refine it if you're working on something specific or presenting something specific. But here on the right-hand side are various images, microscopic as well as photographic. We can grab an image maybe at the cellular level. Okay, so we have a photograph as well as a cellular level. Now we have an image. Let's just say we want to add this. Click on Add to Presentation. Select our presentation that we've preformed, created. And if we want to add that and continue adding, just click add. But if we're all set, just add and view presentation. So, okay, so next, to get it into your PowerPoint, you click export. And there you go. It automatically will save. I'm going to put it in the downloads, my downloads file. Click on save. And that is all there is to that. I'll go into my downloads, take a look. So what's nice about this is that it does the citations for you. It includes the citations, so you don't have to manually do that, as well as all the sourcing information. So that's a really nice tool. There are, I don't have an exact count, but it's close to the millions in terms of the number of images that are available, because you're drawing from the entire Elsevier suite of journals, of books, monographs, and other, and of course, point of care tools, all of the Elsevier suite that the library subscribes to. So that's a lot of images that are at your fingertips. So that is essentially it. I'm going to open up the floor now to any questions that you might have. And if there are no questions from our audience of one, I would like to thank you for attending, and I hope that this is useful to you in the future. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You are welcome, Katrisa, and thank you for attending. Bye for now.